Today I'm going to be answering a viewer request for the top 10 questions you should ask your spirit guide in order to get to know them and yourself better. If this interests you, stick around. Hi, I'm Veronica. Welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, welcome. I teach people about easy, practical spirituality and help you navigate your spiritual awakening. I talk about intentional living and the law of attraction and all of the little things that you can do to create the life of your dreams. So if this interests you, stick around. Hit the subscribe button below. I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. So a few weeks ago, Tony M left a comment on one of my videos wanting to know what are the top 10 things that I should ask my spirit guide when I start talking to them that would be in my best interest. And if you're wondering how do you talk to your spirit guide, I will link to ways that your spirit guides communicate with you and link to my pendulum video. Those are the two best sources to find that information out. So after I start talking to my guide using my pendulum, what do I ask? And it always amazes me when someone comments on that pendulum video saying, how do I find out my guide's name? Well, you're using the pendulum. Just ask them. So number one is going to be ask them their personal information. What is your name? Do you identify to me as a specific gender or not? Are you currently incarnated anywhere, or are you just an ethereal being on the other side, just a soul? Find out their personal information. Number two, what is the main thing that they are working with you on in this life at this moment, in general and at this moment? For example, your main guide is here with you your whole life. And so they're going to have a more generalized theme that covers, like an overarching theme that covers this entire incarnation. Whereas your other guides may or may not be here the whole time. They might just come on for a specific project, for a specific topic. And when that topic is addressed, they go. So each guide is going to have different reasons they're working with you. Like I have guides that are on for health, some that are on for creativity, some that are on to help me learn how to pray and meditate, some that are here to help me learn to open my heart and love more, because Spomie says that his job, his theme he's working with me on in this lifetime, my life's mission, is love, period. And I'm like, well, what about it? And he's like, love. So that's a big theme. And then I'll have other guides coming in to help me accomplish certain little projects, help me learn how to make videos, all of that kind of stuff. So ask your guides specifically, what are you working on me with? Number three, ask them if they feel that your vibrations are high enough on a regular basis for you to be using a pendulum. I can't hammer this home enough. I still get questions every single day. Why am I getting weird information? How do I know if I can trust this information? First of all, if you don't know if you can trust it, put the pendulum down. You don't need to be using it if you're fear-based about it or are questioning the information you get it. Put it down. Go spend a few months meditating every day, eating cleaner foods, listening to happier music, watching inspirational stuff on TV, just getting yourself into a higher vibrational mindset, then try it again. Okay? And if you're not sure what this means, check out the pendulum video and that'll explain it more. But ask your guides, do you guys think that my energy is high enough to be doing this and get valid information? Do you get a good connection with me? Because they'll tell you. And this isn't a one and done. It isn't, well, they told me once that it was, so it must be okay, because it can fluctuate daily. It can fluctuate weekly. So ask them often, do you feel that I'm good to be using this pendulum right now? Is my energy high enough? Because even myself, sometimes they'll tell me no, and I feel like my energy is just fine. But they know more than you do. They can actually see your aura. They see your energy. They are in tune with all of it. Okay, computer. Hello. It's wanting to chime in. But anyways, even when I think my energy is okay, it's not always. So ask your guides. Number 4. That was 3. Number 4. What are the top 3 things that you want me to know today? As you guys know, if you've watched my other videos, I ask this all the time because I want to know what they think. What do you think I need? Because I guarantee it's usually different than what you think. But sometimes your guides can have a little bit of a sense of humor. Like I remember this one day I was going to have a job interview, and it was morning. I just woke up. I had bedhead, and I'm talking to Spomie on my pendulum, and I asked him, okay, so what do you think I need to do today? What should I focus on? And he said, well, you might want to go do your hair. This isn't a one and done situation. I mean, just like with the energy thing, this changes daily. It could change daily, weekly, monthly. Nobody needs the same thing all the time. But you can expect them to say something like, work on opening your heart, work on opening your mind, open your heart, open your mind. Those, I get those a lot, which means I just need to meditate more on those. Open my third eye, open my crown more, meditate on my heart. They might tell you to drink more water. They tell me that all the time. And it's valid because I'm so non-compliant with that advice. I am the worst drinker ever. I'm not kidding. It goes down easier if it's like coffee or maybe even hot tea. But overall, I am chronically dehydrated because I'm just not a big drinker. I can have a bottle of water here and I'll nurse it for 2 or 3 days. Like, I just don't drink a lot. And so they're chronically telling me to drink more water. And it's valid because I need it, and it would help raise my vibes and make all kinds of things better. I'm trying to do better, but don't be surprised if they tell you something like that. Number 5. Are all areas of my life in alignment with my highest and best right now? Or are there any areas of my life that you feel are out of alignment? And what are they? Number 6. Are there any changes that you would recommend to me to get me more into alignment? Number 7. What other lifetimes of mine are most informing this lifetime right now? What karma am I working out? What relational dynamics between me and other people? What personality things? What other lifetime is most informing me right now? Number 8. What is the chakra that I should focus most on right now when I'm meditating? And this is also not a one and done. This is a repeater. So every single day, every time I meditate, which is sometimes more than once a day, sometimes it's 2 or 3 times a day, but every time I meditate, I say, which chakra would be most beneficial for me to focus on right now? And they tell me. And as you guys have heard me say before, when I first started meditating, it was the heart. Every single time, every single day, for probably 2 or 3 years. It never changed, always the heart. And then finally, it switched to the throat one day, and I was like, really? So I got a new one. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm making progress. And then it was the throat for like 2 years. So I had to do a lot of work to get these chakras to open. So, and then little by little, they've allowed me to start focusing on other ones, and other things have started to open over the years. But don't be surprised if they have you focusing on the same one all the time. That means you need it, and that's okay. That'll benefit you the most. So listen to them. 9. So this is one of them that Spomie gave, and I actually remember him doing this with me, so it doesn't surprise me. Ask your guide about the cast of characters that are starring in the play of your life. Remember that this incarnation, this life that you're living, you really are just a character in a play. So are all the people around you. They're just playing a character in a play. Your real soul is in heaven. Your real life is in heaven. That is your home. This is just temporary, and it's so quick, so brief. It's like a little mini series. And you have probably lived many, 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 many lifetimes with some of these people. And every time you're someone different. So as I've talked about before, I've been given most of my past life information through dreams. And you can tell when something is a past life dream versus just a nonsense dream, if you know what I mean. It's an actual storyline. It has significant historical details. You may or may not be the same gender or even the same person you are. Like I've had a dream where I looked in the mirror and I was an Aboriginal woman. I had one where I've had many where I've been male. One where I was a female with long blonde hair. And like I talked about in the other dream, I was this woman in London, 1920s, and I could very clearly see what I looked like, and I was her. And so, anyways, I'm shown a lot of past life stuff in my dreams. And I've had many dreams about my children and who they were, particularly my youngest daughter, Emma. She and I have lived a lot of lives together. She's one of my soulmates. And I've had dreams of her. I don't know when this was, long ago. 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. Not 1800s. Probably 16, 17. We were wearing like prairie clothes, and she was my wife, and she was just beautiful, and she had long, like strawberry blonde hair, like light red hair. And I just remember looking at her and thinking how much I loved her. She's just full of affection for her. And then I had another dream where she was my dad, and in this dream, we were in Scotland. We were in a big stone castle, like in the great room of a stone castle. And I actually found a picture that kind of resembles the room I'm talking about. And so I will insert it here. But in this room, there were tables set out, kind of cafeteria style, long tables where people would come eat their dinner. The fireplace was big enough for you to walk into. I mean, it was a massive fireplace. But in this dream, we had just gotten back from traveling or from battle, or we were exhausted and filthy and tired and hungry. And in this dream, I was standing there in the Great Hall, and I could see everybody else in there, and they were obviously Scottish. And at the table was this man sitting there, and he was older than me. He kind of looked like my dad in this lifetime, but he had like long, shaggy black hair, black beard and mustache, and he was just kind of slumped on the table, just like he was exhausted. And I knew that was my dad. But then in the dream, the focus of the picture narrowed down until it was just on his face. And then I believe I remember the face morphing into Emma's face. So I knew it was her. So when I talked to Spomie about it, he's like, yes, that was one of the lifetimes that you lived on the island of Barra, Barra, in Scotland, and she was your dad. Okay, so I digress. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that the people in your life, you may have lived many lives with them, and they play a different character in every single play. And so when Spomie worked on this with me, he literally addressed it like that. Like when I would talk to him, I would have to say it in that format as well. Like if I said, hey, Spomie, my mom called, he'd say, you mean the soul who is playing the character of your mother, Barb, in this lifetime? And I'd say, right. Or when I'd say, so Emma said, and he'd say, you mean the soul who's playing the character of your daughter Emma in this lifetime? And I'm like, right, yes. And that's because he wanted me to understand that this is all scripted to a point. I mean, you have free will, of course, but this is all according to life contracts. Everybody's doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Dynamics are what they're supposed to be. You signed up for this. You chose this. And there's no sense hating someone or being like, I hate them. They betrayed me. It's supposed to evoke some human emotion, and you don't get me wrong, but everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so on a soul level, they're probably your best friends, your soul family, and you actually love those people. They're just here helping you to play out this drama of life. So ask him about the cast of characters of your life. And what he also did was he was able to go through every person in my life. Like he had me list out every one of my boyfriends I've ever had since my first one. And as I went through them, he was able to tell me, and it was true. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you're right. But he was able to tell me what purpose they served, what their job was, what lesson they were here to teach, and any issues that I have now or complexes I deal with or self-esteem issues, where it originated. Like when I said a certain person's name, he'd say, yes, they were here to teach you about XYZ. And that's where your issue of this came that you're dealing with now. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. And so it helped me to heal some of that stuff. So talk to them about that. So if you'd like more information on soul contracts, I will link below to a video that I made on why do bad things happen, a 5D perspective. It's one of the videos that I'm actually most proud of. I really poured my heart into that because it was important to me. It was in response to a viewer question, and so I really poured my heart into it. And it didn't get a whole lot of views, which surprised me. I mean, it is kind of long, and it deals with some tough topics at times, but I think it's one of the most important videos I've ever made. And I'm really proud to have put the information out there because I think if people take the time to watch it and really envelop the information there, approach it with an open mind and really envelop it, it will change your perspective and change your life. But I talk about soul contracts in that video, and I will link to that below. And last but not least, this was also Spomie's contribution, and he says to ask your guides which archangels would be most beneficial for you to call on or work with right now. This is also not a one and done. This is a repeater. So you're going to have to ask this over and over and over again. Okay, you guys, I hope that this helped. I hope that this gave you a little bit of direction on some things you can ask about. I mean, really, the sky's the limit. Ask anything you want. If they don't want you to know the answer, they'll tell you. They're not shy. Ask them anything you want to ask them. But I would say that these are the essentials that you should at least start out with. All right. You know I love you. I'll talk to you soon.